There we go. Hi, everybody, and welcome. Welcome to our live from St. John's yoga class. This is a gentle yoga class, and we invite you to come. You can use a chair, you can use the ground, you can do whatever you want. The main thing for you is to listen to your own body and to do what feels right for you. Today, we're doing this exciting thing where we are on Facebook Live and YouTube Live at the same time, and hopefully, we'll be able to go all the way through. If you ever want to join us live in the classroom, though, if you want to come, we'd love to have you join us. We are here in Charlotte, North Carolina, and we are centrally located. If you want to find out more information, you can call our church office, and that phone number is
704
704
333
333
5428
5428
extension 11.
extension 11, and ask for
Mallory.
So Mallory will help you out and give you all the information. So today and for the month of October, we are talking about, as our yoga thought and our mindfulness thought, we've been exploring fear. So we're talking about fear and how we can learn how to manage fear a little bit. And so we're going to have a little discussion, we'll have meditation, and then we'll have movement. So welcome and thank you for joining us today. All right, so fear. Anybody familiar with fear?
I think that's one of those basic human emotions.
It's a basic human
It's an
emotion.
instinct.
Yes,
It's one of our instincts.
yeah, you know, you're right, Renee. It's connected with that part of the nervous system that is automatic. We call it autonomic, right? So there's the reactive part of our nervous system, and then there's the relaxed part of our nervous system. The sympathetic, which is the acting out, and the parasympathetic, which is the relaxing. And fear gets activated when the sympathetic, or fear activates the sympathetic nervous system. And so, and there's a good reason for it, right? In terms of our development, why would we want to not think when we're afraid?
Is it delays your reaction?
What does? Thinking?
Thinking too much.
Yeah, thinking's going to slow it down. So if you have a situation where you've got to get out of a bad situation quickly, like maybe you've been driving your car and you're going really quickly, and all of a sudden you just out of the corner of your eye, you see somebody starting to move into your lane, and you don't really have time to think about it, but you know to swerve a little bit, or you know to accelerate or to brake or whatever. You just have that sense of get out of this situation quickly. And then afterwards, how do you feel?
Tired.
Eventually tired, right? There's that rush of adrenaline, and then there's nothing, you've already done the thing. So there's nothing to do except safely get yourself to some other place, right? And so you have all of those stress hormones now are in your body, and you don't know what to do with it, right? So fear is one of those things. That's a kind of a fight or flight situation, and fear is part of that. When we sense fear in our lives, when we feel a threat to our being or a potential threat, that's the way we respond. And so fear is associated with all of those things. Anxiety, right, is like we talked about this last week, right? A little sister of fear. Yeah, anxiety is kind of like that little sister. And so we can spend a lot of time sort of afraid. I mean, we might not label it as afraid, but if you think about the way it feels in your body,
You're anxious.
being full of anxiety, is the same thing. It's just at a lower level, and we kind of get used to that, right?
But sometimes people's anxiousness makes them afraid, and then their body has real symptoms, like when people have panic attacks over things that you normally wouldn't have. You shouldn't have a panic attack. If people have panic attacks,
A particular temperature of water, 98.6 degrees, just say, right? And it's in a pot and it's sitting on the stove. And that temperature, just like that, it's not going to boil over, right? You're not going to have that panic attack where everything's spraying all over your stove, right? At 98.6. It's just, you can still touch it, it's all comfortable. But if you're living with a lot of anxiety all the time, it's like starting to turn that temperature up just a little bit and a little bit more over time. So you're just under that boiling place. You're just in that, every once in a while, there's a little, right? And then a little bit more water evaporates, or a little salt ends up in there, or the temperature gets nudged the tiniest bit, and that's where you go into a full-on panic attack, because it's the body has been living with so much stress, so much anxiety at all times, that it just takes a little before you freak out, right? Does that make sense? So what is the answer to that? So how do we deal with that in our regular lives? Why is yoga good for this?
You control your breathing and self-calming.
Yeah, you learn how to self-calm. You learn how to, recognize when you are bubbling up there, when you're starting to get to, oh, I'm not having a panic attack, but my body isn't feeling really at its happy level. Hi. My body isn't feeling like that good balance, right? Because yoga is all about figuring out where that balance is, right? It's about understanding and recognizing when we are in that place of, I'm in a pretty good place. I can handle some stress, right? Or are we in a place where, you know what, I can't take one more thing on until I go and breathe.
I'm very claustrophobic, and it's sort of gotten worse as I've aged. I used to love to fly, and now I can't stand it, and I will force myself to get on a plane because I know that it's worth it, but I have to take something to read, I have to breathe, I have to, not look when everybody jumps up when you land, and everybody, it's just a mass of people.
Mm-hmm.
And I just learned little tricks for me to make work.
That's, and so the yogi part of me would say, and so keep practicing your breathing and keep practicing learning ways to bring your stress level down. So before you even go to the airport, like the couple of days before you go to the airport, practice managing that time. Because it's that time before you go to the airport that's you sitting on the stove and the temperature going up a little bit and a little bit and a little bit. All those things that you say the 3 days before you go. And I've got to stop the mail, and I've got to make sure that my husband knows where the fire extinguisher is, and oh yeah, I need to call and make sure that people know I'm not going to go to that meeting, and dang, I forgot to go to the bank. All those little things are little stressors, and they are turning the temperature up, and they create more anxiety in you. And when we have more anxiety, then when you're on the plane and the captain comes on and says, I'm sorry, we're gonna have to make a circle around the airport because probably nothing to worry about, but that's when we go into fear, right? Because instead of going, these people have done this a gazillion times and they are just letting us know, I'm sure everything's gonna be fine, I'm gonna trust this. Instead we go, ah! Because we're already full inside, right? So you figured out some ways to manage it. And then again, the more you can back up figuring out those stressful situations, back up those stressful situations and find your yoga breathing, find those moments, create space in your day, the better off those situations will be. Can this also hold true in terms of relationships, just conversations that we have with other people, discussions that you might have in your Sunday school class, right? If you come in your class, right? If you come in and you're already like, and I was late and I didn't want to miss my Sunday school class, I didn't want to miss church, and then it was this, and then the traffic lights were out, and I didn't know there was a parade going on, and you go in, and then it turns out that you're talking, I don't know if you guys talk about controversial things in your Sunday school classes, but sometimes we do. And it starts to get heated. All of a sudden, you're like, you forget the whole reason that you're there. Same thing. And then we become afraid of our own thoughts. So again, fine. It's okay. Continue to participate. Right? Very quiet. Does that make sense? You're taking nice deep breaths.
very quick, very not happy.
She's finding her balance.
Traffic on a rainy morning will do that, won't it?
So I've been thinking a lot about this idea of fear, particularly in the October time when we do things to induce fear. Because there is something about that jolt that we also like. Yeah? Some of us really like to have an argument with other people. Some of us we like it when we stimulate our nervous system, and we like it when we makes us feel alive. You probably know people like that who seem to always be kind of good for a fight. A little bit. I'm just saying, I don't know, you don't seem like a person who's looking for a fight, but some people are. Some of us find that we're so afraid of having a fight, we're so worried about having a fight, the fear gets inside us that we can't find our own voices because we're full of that anxiety, that stress, that feeling and hide, and that it's the fear of fear, conflict, that keeps us from talking. And people use that to control us. Try to get us to feel afraid. So just interesting things to think about. What feels in your body, and see if you can find that place of finding balance again. And one of the best ways to do that is for us to breathe. So we're going to practice some breathing. All right. I try to write about breathing, and I'm going to tell you, it is hard to write down the words about how to do this, just to actually sit there and to think that somebody's going to understand it. I think it's a lot easier just to talk about it and to do it. So let's come into a comfortable seated position, whatever that is for you, wherever you are, find your seated position. If you're driving in a car, not a good time to close your eyes. Right? Oh, it's going to be too dark in here. Okay, sorry, we're just going to close our eyes.
Is it different? Oh, because it's raining.
Yeah, because it's so, yeah. All right, so close your eyes, allow yourself to feel your body in space. Take a big breath in and exhale. And again, another big breath in. And slowly let your breath go out. Allow your breathing just to be deep and become aware of what it feels like for you to breathe in your body. How does your body physically respond? And take your brain out of it and just notice, where does the breath go when you breathe in? Where does the breath go when you breathe out? How does your body respond to it? When you think about when you breathe in, you're taking in a volume of gas, right? You're bringing something into your body. Your body must respond to it. It must change by taking the breath in. When you let your breath go, your body needs to respond to that because it doesn't have that volume of gas in it anymore. So take a few more breaths and just become aware of how your body changes when you breathe in and when you breathe out. Let your belly feel relaxed. You might even take your hand to your belly. On your next in-breath, draw the breath in. Imagine you're pulling it in into your belly. The belly is just puffing up a little bit more. When you exhale all the breath out from the belly and let the belly draw in towards the spine, letting all that breath go. Inhaling into the belly. The belly gets big when the breath comes in. Exhaling out, allowing All the breath to go, drawing the belly in as if you're pushing that breath out. Your next in-breath, count how long it takes for you to breathe in. When you breathe out, allow your out breath to be that long